What's up, game players? I want to welcome each and every last one of you guys to the Analog Circle podcast. This is episode number 77. Welcome. Come on in, kick off your shoes, take a seat, and relax. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out to spend a little bit of time with me to go over this gaming culture that we all love so much. So guys, I don't want to waste any time. I want to jump into my favorite part of the show, and that's of course the feedback section. Holla back at me. Talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind, your concerns, your thoughts. Everything to do with this gaming culture, I'm all game. So you can always remember that if you want to be a part of this part of the podcast, either call in at 443-261-4607, or you can leave a voicemail. Well, I said that already. Or you can leave an email. Let me get my bearings together by sending it to the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Guys, I want to jump right into it because, as always, the man, the guy, the brother, my brother, he always shows up for this part of the section of the podcast, and I can't thank him enough. He's definitely he's a mainstay, and he's a main name on this podcast. And if you've been listening for any length of time, then you guys already know this gentleman's name. Of course, if you don't know, I am talking about Mr. Cody Clark. Now, Mr. Cody Clark has wrote in to chime in about the PlayStation 2 question that I was asking you guys. Matter of fact, if you don't remember, let's do a recap. My question to you guys last week was, do you think that the PlayStation 4 will outsell the PlayStation 2? So here we go. Let's get into Cody's email. He starts it off with the title of it being "That is a Lot of PS2." So here we go. Let's get into it. I remember Goose telling me stories of working at Toys R Us and GameStop, and when the PS2 was discontinued and dropped like 40 to 50 bucks, lots of Latino families and other ethnics, I'm sure, came in and were buying tons of the things to ship back to Mexico and South America and all over the Pacific as well. 150 million is a lot. Sure, 75 mil is half the way there, but I have a strong feeling Sony will move on to their next system very soon, and the PlayStation 4 will hit a wall. And Sony will be like, yeah, PS4, whatever. It's time for PS5 with integrated VR and catheter and blood pressure sensors and dog and cat feeding capabilities or whatever. The PS2 was an amazing machine. I mean, it didn't hold its lunch versus the OG Xbox, but it had so many great games and was so accessible. I would be totally okay if that stays on top of the list. Cody, I want to thank you for this email, brother. I truly do. See, Cody, this is the thing, brother, and I want you to hear me out on this, man. I'm feeling good about this. Always love reading your emails. Very entertaining. The PlayStation 4 itself is dropping. I mean, it was I'm gonna botch this. It was on sale over the holiday season, and it did gangbuster numbers. It did 5 million units over a month's time from November to December. 5 million units were moved, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down. It has a great lineup of games coming in the future. I mean, several big ones that we're going to talk about on the show a little later that are coming out this year. So I don't know, man. The PlayStation 2, it had an amazing amount of games. That's what really made it stand out. A lot of exclusives, a lot of games, like I said, you just couldn't get on any other platform, which drew people to the system. I really believe that with the numbers that they have right now, they can do it again. Now, of course, we got to do the math on this. We are 5 years in. 5 years. Now, technically, this generation should be about to wrap up. Usually back in the day, before the 360 era, you got 5 to 6 years into a console's life cycle. You were gearing up for that next generation of consoles to release. But we do know that last generation, no generation has ever lasted doggone 10 years. That's never happened. That generation was way too long, but great games kept coming out. So do I think that the PlayStation 5 is going to come out and possibly overshadow the PlayStation 4? I mean, of course it's going to happen. Eventually it's going to come out. It's going to be the new hot item. But then I think about that library of games that the PlayStation 4 has on it or will have on it. And I think, man, once it drops down to a certain price, I'm sure it's going to attract even more people. I tell you this, Cody, it's going to be a very interesting next few years as far as this is concerned. But I don't want to harp on this too much longer, Cody, just for the sake of time and because you were kind enough to send another email, and I want to get into that. But Cody, let's rock on with your other email, and I like this email as well. Now, the name of this email is Cardboard McPouty Face. Let's get into it. Now, he says, I'm going to be Pouty McPout Face when it comes to the Nintendo cardboard thing. It is a cute idea. Yeah, it's very Google. I will give them that. But the Switch itself is an Android-based system. It's an NVIDIA Shield with more RAM. When I heard about what they were doing, I thought of the awesome American startup Adafruit. This is a company that takes small things like Raspberry Pis and other tech and then makes add-ons and designs products and projects for them. So the tech is already in there. A lot of these projects already exist for other small systems. He actually sent me a link, and you guys might want to check this out. It's www.adafruit, spelled A-D-A, fruit.com/. Let's continue. He says, so to me, what I see them doing is just pulling over the quote-unquote maker part of the system and capitalizing on it. And don't get me wrong, it's great. It would be even better if they manned an education initiative and made kits and systems available to schools for kids. My homework is to play Nintendo and make robots. That is how you get kids to learn. So I feel like it's a more money and make waves thing. But in the next few years, the Switch will get cracked and truly amazing things will happen with it. Pardon my random Warren Spector, old man yelling at kids on his lawn comment. Don't even worry about it, Cody. That's all good, brother. I feel the same way at times. Let me tell you this, and just for the sake of time, I'm not going to harp on it too long. But I tell you, Cody, I was so excited when I saw this Labo thing. And then I go to the internet. I listen to several different podcasts. You guys know this already. I'll shout them out at the end. And people are really down on it. They actually made me feel slightly guilty. Like, man, this stuff is for kids. I know it's for the children. I know it's for the young people. But, man, I tell you, that jetpack to me on the back, man, that thing looked pretty cool. I wanted to give it a try, just to see what it is, see what it's like, So I'm still excited. I know it's for the young people. I know it's to teach and to, have them learn about things and all of that great stuff. But I really thought it was a good idea. Some people are saying that the cardboard is not kid friendly. They're going to tear it up or mess it up. But I want to point this out. Now, whether or not this is 100% confirmed, I can't say, but I did remember reading an article that said Nintendo would supply you the cardboard for free. You just had to buy the software. So if that's the case, I don't think that's a big deal. But anyway, getting back to some of the stuff that Cody said in this email, man, it would be sensational if Nintendo was to put this into the school system. How amazing would that be? I mean, you really want to teach kids something about, I don't know how deep this rabbit hole goes with this thing, Cody. I'm not 100% sure, but some of the things that they were showing with the robots and having the controllers, on it to kind of control it, and then having the throttle and all of that stuff, looked like a stick shift was on the floor. There was a lot going on in this daggone little 3-minute video that they showed. So it would be amazing to have this in the schools. Maybe one day it'll become a big enough thing where Nintendo may just do that, because Minecraft is actually being taught in certain schools as well now. They have programs for kids and they're learning off of that. So maybe if this thing does become big enough, that could be the next big thing in the school system. But Cody, just for the sake of time, I truly thank you for writing in with this email. And once again, it's always great dialogue, and it's always great to have you write in, brother. So with that being said, guys, I have to do this. It's only right. And I was so amazed by this. I have to give the biggest shout out to Goose. Goose, actually, listen to how amazingly cool this brother is. This man actually he gifted me Monster Hunter on the Xbox One. I gotta give a round of applause to Mr. Goose for that. That was the kindest thing ever, man. Thank you so very much for that, Goose. I unfortunately did not get a chance to get into the game this weekend, but I guarantee you, me, you, Cody, Aaron from Game Enthuse, we're going to be running the game, and I'll definitely have my impressions on it at a later date. But Goose, once again, brother, that was so very appreciated, man. And thank you for that. So kind of you. But guys, look, I've been trying to keep the show at an hour, not trying to take up too much of your time. I would love for you guys to tell me, do you like the hour format, or do you mind me going over an hour? It was just some thoughts and ideas were tossed my way where people suggested mainly one person suggested to keep it at an hour. Might be browbeating y'all with the information. But anyway, here I am doing the same nonsense I do every week. I'm rambling. So let's go ahead, man, without further ado, and let's get into what we all come here for, god dog it. Wait a minute. First off, you know what, darn it? This is my goddamn podcast. I can do what I want to do. And I'm not trying to be big-headed or anything like that. You know what, man? I want to talk about something, god dog it. Now, this isn't game-related per se. No, it's really not. But, man, I got to tell y'all something. Just personally, I just had a heck of a daggone wicked revelation revealed to me. Now, this has to do with car insurance, and I'm going to be very brief with this. Man, I haven't. Thank goodness. I've been able to sustain a great, a good track record as far as, in the car, driving in the car. Everything's been okay so far. And I go and try to get in, look around, shop around and get some different insurance. Do you know, man, they told me that it doesn't matter how good your driving record is. You could be flawless. You could be perfect. It does not matter, because as long as you live in a certain neighborhood, or let's say a certain area, not neighborhood, but a area, if that area is having a lot of incidents and things are going bad, basically you gotta suffer. So you could be doing perfectly fine with your driving. If your next door neighbor messes up, then they make your rate higher. I said, what the heck, man? This is freaking insanity at its finest. Couldn't believe it. So guys, I mean, have you what's the word? Been through this already. In your area, you got a great driving record, but yet you got to suffer because other people are messing up and not doing what they're supposed to do. It's freaking ridiculous, and it's freaking doggone fair. God darn it. You daggone insurance companies, man, y'all are so fast to put the rates on people, but then let you mess up. Oh, shucks. Now you're really about to get slammed over the head with some doggone ridiculous daggone numbers. Anyway, man, I gotta tell you something else, man. Talking about driving, I was down in Virginia. I was down in Newport News, VA, and I pardon me, y'all. I never vent to y'all like this, but this has just been on my daggone heart. I just got to use this for a therapy session for a minute. I'm down in Virginia, in Newport News, Virginia, man. I've never had any problems. I don't know. Yeah, I've had a few problems down there, but anyway, I'm down there driving, getting ready to pick up some daggone freight. And they pull me in. It ain't even a scale. It's not an inspection station, anything like that. For you people that don't know what I'm talking about, truck drivers, we got to go over weight scales and all of that stuff. So he pulls me in and he says, I need your license and registration, all of that stuff. I give him that stuff. I go back to the truck. Couple minutes later, he calls me back over to his cop car and says, Mr. Mitchell, you are suspended in the state of Virginia. I said, you got to be kidding me. How the heck am I suspended? What happened? Well, you had a ticket from 7 years ago that never got paid. Let me tell you guys something. I paid that ticket. It was $200. I gave those people the money for the ticket. They sent me a letter that said that I paid the ticket. Everything was fine and good. Do you know that, to make this long story as short as possible, do you know that they made me pay $420 for that ticket that was 7 years old, on top of a, what do you call it, a reinstatement fee of being reinstated back into a state that I don't even freaking live in, for $150. And then I said, well, I paid that ticket previously. You know what they told me? Oh, you were supposed to send that to the courthouse and the judge was supposed to clear that, and then you would have been clear. None of that was exposed or told to me. So I not only spent $200 beforehand, I had to spend another, in total, over $600 just to be able to drive in the state of doggone Virginia for something that got paid 7 years ago. But because it didn't go over the daggone judge's desk, they make me repay it. That is some BS. And you never told me about it, Virginia. You never sent me a letter saying anything about it. It never even showed up in the records at my job, because they got to check your driving record to make sure that nothing is wrong and you can drive all over the goddamn place. It's a freaking money racket. Anyway, man, I've done enough of that. Let's just get into this goddamn gaming news. Now, let's start off with something that is amazing. Get my goddamn mind off of this stuff. Oh, man. Let's start it off with PlayStation, and oh, my. The wait of a release date is finished. Now this week, well, it ain't this week, but last week when I wrote this, Sony released a new God of War trailer and it looked astonishing. And on top of it looking amazing, it had the release date. Now this game is gonna come out to the masses on April 20th, 2018. And I got to just go back to this trailer, man. Kratos' son, you know, he may have a little more of his father's temperament than we initially thought. When he was talking about consequences of killing someone like Zeus, or, you know, just somebody that's a mythological god, he says, how do you know? And he told him it's consequences to this. And his son is saying, how do you know? How do you know? I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be some serious stuff, man. This is gonna get amazing. This is gonna get incredible. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm so happy about it, man. I mean, his son looks like he is going to have a little bit of rage, a tad bit of rage in his veins. I'm excited for this one, man. It's nothing more to say about it. God of War, April 20th. Get ready, God dog it. If you don't have a PlayStation 4, get one. It's going to be freaking amazing. Moving on into some EA news. Now, there is an update of information for the game Anthem. Oh, man. As it turns out, the game will not, and I repeat, will not release this year. Instead, it is going to release in 2019. Now, this is according to 3 people that are familiar with the project. Now, it's also being said that it's unlikely the game will come out past March of 2019 because that's the end of the fiscal year. I don't know why I thought this, but I thought this game was going to make it out this year. I guess I was dreaming and not being honest with myself. I mean, the game looks amazing. I just hope that it looks that way when it releases. But, you know, we're going to see. It's not too much more to talk about as far as this is concerned. No. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, as far as this project goes, there are rumors that have been said in the news that if Anthem, and I want you to wrap your mind around this, if Anthem fails, then BioWare, the legendary BioWare, could be dismantled. Who in the frick can believe that that would be the case? I'm going to tell you, BioWare has made some outstanding games. Mass Effect 1 through 3, Jade Empire, Star Wars, the RPG game. What was that? I can't remember the name of it, but it came out on the Knights of the Old Republic. Came out on the original Xbox. They have a stellar lineup of games. They've only dropped the ball, in my opinion, once. And that was with, of course, and I don't even think they dropped the ball because I didn't think it was as bad as people said. But Mass Effect Andromeda, people said they didn't like it. I didn't think it was that bad. But hopefully that is not the case. But we know EA will dead you off quick as ever. I mean, Visceral Games got shut down. The people behind Dead Space. I'm just hoping somebody, Microsoft, knock on these people door and offer them a goddamn offer. You and EA are pretty tight with each other. Buy the goddamn Dead Space franchise, man. Make your portfolio bigger. Anyway, moving on to the next story. Not going to linger on this too much. Now, this right here. Oh, this got me excited. I was a little pumped up. Now, some info has come out about the Avengers project that was announced last year from Crystal Dynamics. Some of you guys may remember this. It's a quick little trailer, showed Captain America's shield. Looked like people was getting beat the heck up. Well, it's some more information about this. Now, let me preference this first by saying it's not much here. I don't want to pump you up too much. It's not much here, but it could give us an idea of what the quality of the project could be. Now, Crystal Dynamics just announced that a major new studio expansion, they announced a major new studio expansion that involves hiring veterans from a number of well-regarded developers that include 15 new hires, including former creative director of Naughty Dog, Sean, I always have a hard time with this brother's last name, and I'm a butcher it, Escaig. Yes, Sean Escaig. Stephen Berry from EA Visceral Games, rest in peace to Visceral, and other hires ranging from Sledgehammer Games, Monolith Productions, WB Games, and DICE. Now, outside of that, it's no more news on this story. But the co-head of Crystal Dynamics did say this about the project, and I quote, "The tremendous progress we've made on the Avengers project further drives us toward our goal of crafting something all Marvel fans will be proud of, and will play for years to come. We can't wait to show you what we mean in the future." End of quote. Now that right there, I'm just starting to think about this. That right there is interesting. Now, could this game possibly be a games with service of games, or whatever that new term that Phil Spencer has been throwing around, games as a service? Could that mean that this game is multiplayer focused? Could it mean that it's not a single player game? That's what I was looking for. I don't know. Maybe it's a single player in there, and maybe they're gonna expand it out and have the multiplayer be bigger and better. But we'll have to see. But the talent that they have on this game, I mean, these people are coming from Call of Duty World War II. They're coming from Shadow of War, the new game that came out last year. Shadow of War. They're coming from the Batman Origins team and Star Wars Battlefront. These are the talents that they have. And of course, the brother's name that I butchered, he actually worked on Uncharted. He comes from that cloth. Naughty Dog, Uncharted, the last Uncharted, The Lost Legacy. He worked on that. He was the guy. So the amazing amount of talent that is going into this game, I am very, very hopeful that this is going to be something amazing. I know that this was tempted with DC Universe. I never really got into that. Didn't think it was that great myself, but I'm being unfair about it because I never took the time to really explore and get into it. But it's also, I remember years ago. Now you guys, now you got to really go way back in your mental Rolodex for this one. I remember during the 360 era, they had said that they were going to release a Marvel game that was going to be online. After a while, you didn't hear anything about it. That was during the time when City of Heroes was pretty big on PC. After a while, you didn't hear anything else about it. Maybe, just maybe, this could be remnants of that coming back up for this generation. We'll have to see. And hopefully, since they said that they're looking forward to showing us something in the future, hopefully it'll be at E3. Who knows? Maybe they'll have enough done. But we'll see. Moving on to the next story now. PUBG. This game is winning. Winning. Let me tell you something. They just hit another milestone. Now, the player count has gone up to a whopping, double whopping 4 million players. Now, to show their appreciation, Bluehole is rewarding game players with 30,000 battle points. Yes, 30 G's. I don't know how much that is because I haven't played the game, but god darn, it sounds like a lot. Let's see. They can be used to buy it. It can be used to buy cosmetic crates and that kind of stuff. Now, in order to take advantage of this, you have to create a character before January 31st, and players will receive battle points after February 1st, and will appear in players' BP accounts, which is right below your gamer tag. Congratulations to Bluehole. You guys are doing amazing. I love what you're doing. Hopefully one day I'll jump on the sticks and play. Listen, man, I got to get some real online friends, and I got to shout out Goose again and Cody, because they're going to walk me through Monster Hunter. You guys know that I'm just not online because, hey man, I'm not trying to drag the team down through the mud. But if you want to friend me on Xbox Live, hit me up. My gamer tag is Corked Emperor 33. Hit me up over there, man, and we can talk about it. Moving on now this ain't even a story. This is not even a real story. I just didn't know this. This took me by storm. This is one of those games that I was telling you the PlayStation 4 has in their bag that's coming out this year. Now, some of you may know this. I had no idea. But Shadow of the Colossus, yes, the remake, it is actually releasing on February 6th, 2018. And guess how much the game is going to be? It's going to be $40. Can you believe it? This game is coming out in a week. 7 or 8 days, somewhere around in there, man. For $40, I will be getting this day darn one. I'm telling you, I never played it. What I did, I actually did play it on the PlayStation 2 for like 15 minutes. And I mean, god dog. The controls, I don't give a care what anybody says. You can be a fan of this game all you want. The controls were clunky. I mean, I'm up there trying to get up the back of this guy doggone Colossus, this big, huge creature, and I keep slipping and falling, and the controls were real floaty, and it just didn't feel good, but it was an amazing looking game. And then it came out on PS3. I got the 3D TV from Sony. I thought this was going to be a great time to get it, and I never got it for some reason. So now that this game is being remade on the PlayStation 4, and my goodness, good gosh, the game looks amazing. It looks so great. I'm looking forward to this. I can't stress it enough. For $40, if you have a PlayStation 4, I just recommend picking it up. It looks great. I'm hoping that it does not play like the original. And I will say this. I was looking at Blue Point, because I believe they're the ones behind it. Blue Point did say that they did redo the controls to make it more modern, to make it feel a lot better. So I can't wait for this. This is going to be amazing. Moving on to the next story. Now, for the Sea of Thieves beta people that were in the beta, because you guys were having some trouble. I heard there was a lot of trouble going on when this beta came out. They have actually decided to extend the beta until midnight on Wednesday, January 31st, Pacific time, and 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if any of you guys are in there that couldn't get in initially and had to wait, they're trying to do good by you guys. They're going to extend it another, I guess this is another 2 days or so. So you have until Wednesday, January 31st to get it in. I have to tell you guys, I said that I was not getting Sea of Thieves. I wasn't interested. I said Skull and Bones was a much better looking game. Looked like it was down my alley quite a bit more than Sea of Thieves. I gotta say, man, I gotta be honest. I've been looking at footage of Sea of Thieves, and I must say, god dog, this game really looks quite good. I was really shocked at how well this game looks. I had no idea it looked that great. People keep talking about the water, saying it's gorgeous, it's amazing, this, that, and the third. It looks good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It looks good, man. But I think some people might be overselling it a little bit. But maybe I need to look at it in person, and that could definitely be the case. But it looks good. I mean, it's glistening. You know, the sunlight is shining on it real purty like. So, I mean, I'm really contemplating getting this game now. And, man, we'll have to see how that goes, man. It looks like a lot of fun. So we'll see, man. But moving on, it's not much more to talk about with that. But moving on into a bit of a sadder story, a bit of an unfortunate story. The Epic developed game Paragon will be shutting down on April 26th. But it's a sad moment, but it is a bit of a silver lining to this. You know, they said to make up for that, all players on any platform can apply for a refund. Now, here is the quote from Epic Games as to what happened and why they're closing Paragon down. They said, after careful consideration and many difficult internal debates, we feel there isn't a clear path for us to grow Paragon into a MOBA that retains enough players to be sustainable. They continue to say, we have failed you despite the team's incredibly hard work, and we're sorry. End of quote. This is so unfortunate, man. It's always tough to see a game go. I mean, Battleborn just got taken off not too long ago. Now this game is up next. You know, it's tough. It's tough to see that go. I even saw that they started a petition to try and save this game. This game, you know, from actually going offline. Now, I never played Paragon. It never looked interesting to me. It's an online experience again. So I was already jaded as ever, which is bad for me, but I'm just from a different era, I guess. And maybe I haven't found that right crew to run with, possibly. But we'll see what happens with that in the future as far as me and online gaming. But this is a real sad story. I never like to see anyone be taken out of work. But wait a minute. It's a more silver lining to this, though, because it was said that a lot of the team that was on Paragon, they have been shifted, their focus has been shifted to Fortnite. So that is a positive. Fortnite seems to be doing quite well. And it's a very interesting story coming up about that a little later in the podcast. But moving on to the next story. Now, I thought this was a really cool story. Now, if you're looking forward to the game Days Gone, which is another big hit on the PlayStation 4 that allegedly is coming out this year. Now, if you can't wait to play it, right, and you're just in such a hurry and you gotta feel how real this game actually is gonna be, Sony Bend Studios is looking for testers to try the game. Now, I hate to be that person to pump people up, and it's like, but it's a catch. But I had to share this story, man. The catch is you have to live in Oregon to participate. Now, outside of that, you know, you have to send them an email listing some of your favorite games. And, you know, if you're interested, the email address is bend, B-E-N-D, studio@sony.com. Now, the studio has also said, and this is a quote, if you're a good fit, our recruiter will email you back. Now, if you guys know anybody that's near Oregon, I want to tell you guys something. It's a few listeners out there. The stats aren't like blowing off the charts out there for the podcast. But if any of you guys know anybody that's close to Oregon, I actually got in contact with one of the developers. He wants to remain nameless, and I can respect that. He told me that if anybody wanted to participate in this and I knew someone, to give him a call, give them their information. So what I would recommend, and this is only if you want to, and I can't guarantee anything. I mean, I've been talking to the guy a couple months here and there, on and off, so I can't guarantee anything. But if you know someone that is in the Oregon area, tell them email me, let me know that they're emailing them, and I can tell them your name. Once again, I can't stress this enough. I can't guarantee it because I know it's probably going to fill up like shucks, like hotcakes. So I would just recommend, email me. I'll do my best to try to get you into the program. But let's move on to the next story. God darn, this game is going to be awesome. No, I'm looking forward to it. I wish I was close to Oregon just to be able to play this game. And also, he also said, that you will have to sign an NDA, so you wouldn't be able to tell me about it anyway. But if I can help, I would love to. It's for the culture, baby. Moving on. Assassin's Creed Origins. Let's talk about this for a minute. It will be getting a new Game Plus mode soon. Now, this was confirmed by community manager Dominic Voigt. I'm getting people's names fricked up tonight, man. Voigt, V-O-I-G-T, Voigt. When he responded to a fan on Reddit by saying, and I quote, "New Game Plus is coming. We'll have more information to share soon." End of quote. Now, if you're not familiar, and this is not to insult anybody's intelligence, I promise you that. But if you're not familiar with Game Plus mode, it means that you usually get to start with the same weapons and the same level that you might have got to, and some of the special items that you have attained when you beat the game. So I remember I don't really usually do these. When I beat a game, I'm usually finished, unless it's a game that really calls me back. And I got to tell you, Star Wars, The Force Unleashed was one of the few games that I played that had a plus mode to it, a Game Plus mode. And I tell you, when I was going through it the second time, having all of the items, the experience, that I had, and all of the weapons, man, it made it so much fun. So for anybody out there that's an Assassin's Creed fan that has been loving Origins, maybe this is a little incentive for you guys to get back into it and try to run it back. Moving on into some PlayStation VR news. Yeah. It looks like a new peripheral will be coming out to help increase the immersive experience. Now, the name of this peripheral, it's called the 3D Rudder. Now, what does this thing do? Well, you actually sit there in a seated position. You place your feet on top of the device and walk. Now, this is kind of interesting. You actually walk in the game by tilting forward. And what this does is this is supposed to free your hands up, so you don't have to be clicking around with the analog sticks on the controller, which is very interesting. Now, to do that, it'll help you focus on other actions. Now, as far as the announcement goes of the 3D Rudder, Executive Vice President Christopher Dissacks, God darn it, man, what the heck is wrong with me? Dissacks said this, and I quote, "For the future, we are working with the console manufacturers, and we will announce later this year 3D rudders for consoles." End of quote. Now, as far as when it will be released, he says this, and this is another quote from him. He says, "Nothing is confirmed yet, but it will hopefully be available by Q3. Now, actually, another interesting thing about this, and it just actually came back to my memory, that kind of makes it very interesting, is he said that they're also reaching out to the Xbox brand as well. So could that mean, and I know people have been talking about it, it's been rumors saying that it will happen just in the future. Could this mean that Microsoft may have some peripheral for the Xbox this year? Now, it's already been talks that they're trying to make it so it'll be third-party support. Maybe the Vive will be able to play on it, or something from another manufacturer that they'll make it compatible, which is actually smart if Microsoft does that, because they don't have to worry about the R&D costs, and they can have someone else take the hit on that. So hopefully VR will be coming to the Xbox brand. The Scorpio, how did I say the Scorpio? The Xbox One X will be able to definitely maintain, I'm sure, the frame rate and all of the extra bells and whistles that are required to really have a smooth VR experience. So we'll see what happens with this. Moving on into some more interesting news. Now, it looks like, now I don't know, you guys might not be familiar with them, but we're going to get into it. Gen Design, who was formerly known as Team Ico, has teased its next project. Now, if you aren't familiar with their last project, it was The Last Guardian, which got dogged. That game was freaking, oh man, it was so frustrating. God dog, it was just it was frustrating as heck, man. But at the end of it, god dang, it was a good game. I know you say, how the heck can you diss it in one breath, but say it was great in another? It was a darn good game, man. I really enjoyed it by the time it was over. But getting back to the goddamn subject. Now, as far as the project goes, they did show an image that appears to show a character that looks like Yorda, wearing a white dress with some kind of huge freaking beast with fur at the bottom of the steps, but in the picture, it looks like she's actually staring up to whatever it is. And it also shows on one of the stones that she's standing on a 2018 logo with the Gen Design logo next to it. So I don't know if they're going to be showing something at E3 this year. It's very possible, but either way, Yorda, she's the if you're not familiar, she's from Ico, the game Ico, where you had to drag her around, which was it was an interesting game. I got into it for a little bit, got a little frustrated, kind of let it go, but it was interesting. But hopefully we'll see something about this game, this game at E3. We'll see. Now, moving on into another story. This is really cool, man. Hyperkin, man, these guys are on a freaking roll. Hyperkin is bringing out the Superboy S, which let me tell you what this is. It will allow Super NES fans the chance to use original Super Nintendo cartridges and play on the go with this portable device. Now, not only that, but it allows you to play up to 2 players on the device on a regular TV. Now, this thing is so interesting because it has 2 ports right on the front of it. This thing is completely portable, but it has 2 Super Nintendo ports where you can plug in 2 Super Nintendo original controllers and play 2 players, hook this thing up to the TV, and you are ready to go. Not only that, guys, you can also play SFC cartridges on it, which are Super Famicom, which was the system over in Japan. You can play those imports on this as well. Now, let's get into the features. Let's talk about what this thing is packing under the god-doggone hood. Now, it's going to have stereo sound with 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. It's going to have an adjustable brightness button. It's going to have a rechargeable, God dog it, the daggone battery, man. The one that freaking you can charge in a minute. Don't take long. A Lillian battery. A Lillian battery. Let me move on. It's going to, you'll be able to, as far as the battery life, you're going to have up to 10 hours of battery life with this thing. It's going to have micro USB charge port and NTSC PAL region switch. Now, you might say, well, God dog, man, how the frick much is this going to be? Guess what, buddy? Guess what? The cost of it is going to be below $100, which in salespeople talk is $99.99. So it's going to be $100. And it will include a backlit screen. Now, it's supposed to be in stock on Amazon right now. I say get out there, pick this up. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this really quickly. Micro Center had the original. I have seen that thing time and time and time again. I think it was like $70. And I kept saying, I don't know if I really want it. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to pick this one up. This is really darn cool. I'm really looking forward to hearing if some of you guys are going to pick this up. Being able to take the Super Nintendo experience on the go. How amazing is that? Nintendo, you are being beat at your own game. Release these on the Switch, man. Come on, y'all. What the heck are you doing? Maybe it'll be an E3 daggone announcement. Who the heck knows? Moving on. Oh, shucks, we cutting it close to this hour, man. Let me speed this up. Now, in Nintendo news, the next big game being considered for the Switch is Fortnite. Pretty amazing, right? Now, even though this isn't official, it is interest from a key member of Epic Games. Now, this all stemmed from a response to a question from a person on Twitter, where Donald Mustard, who is the worldwide creator director at Epic, said yes. And he said, yes, I am hopeful we will do that at some point. So it's possible. It's also been said that when some of these games have been released on the Switch, they have been able to sell just as many copies on the Switch as they have on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. So that's positive news. They're having a very, very good attachment rate. So we'll see if this happens. I think it would be a nice fit. I think the Switch can handle it. We shall see. Moving on to the next. This ain't even really a story. This is just more of a footnote. If you want to get a better understanding about Labo, about the Nintendo Labo stuff, then the newest Nintendo Power podcast is up, and it's actually the second episode, and you can find this on YouTube and SoundCloud. All you do is type in Nintendo Power Podcast. I'm gonna check the heck out of that. I started on it, but I said, look, we gotta record the podcast. Any Nintendo fan, please check this podcast out. It's really cool. It's only the second episode, but they go over stuff. It's like an hour long, somewhere around in there. Check it out, man. It's great. And the last story for this week, after I have just butchered it this week, the U.S. game industry has made $37 billion in 2017, according to a press release from the Entertainment Software Association. $37 billion in a year. My goodness. I think that the gaming the gaming industry is in a very positive space with those numbers. But guys, that is it for this week's gaming news, and we will be back right after this week's video game theater. Stay tuned, guys.
Much obliged, Captain Blaskovich. You ready for an assignment? Friends and comrades, this is it. Project Whisper. It's been in development for years, a helicopter aircraft. The Nazis have found a way to make it virtually silent in flight and undetectable by means of radar. Anya has decrypted the Nazi chatter out of London and located the only 3 prototypes in existence at the London Nautica research facilities there. With Captain Blaskovich on the team, we are finally strong enough to strike at their operations. The days of scurrying like rats are over. With these machines in our possession, we can go anywhere, hit anything. We will rebuild the Kreisau Circle, arm ourselves to the hilt. We will rise up and take down Death's Head for good. They think the war's over, that we are weak, beaten, don't have the guts to oppose them. And as always, they are wrong.
I've got a 14-hour drive. I've got a sinus infection. I haven't had a full night's sleep in 8 months. So let's go, people. Because I'm not doing this again.
Thank you for doing this, Mike.
Stop. I just want to get this over with.
And welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Before we get into the final section of the podcast, which is the question of the week, I have to apologize to Mr. Cody Clark. I actually read the brother's email wrong. He said ethnicities, okay, not ethnic. That was my mistake. So, Cody, I definitely apologize for that, brother. And it was just a slip of the tongue. My mistake. But moving on into the final section of the podcast. Now, guys, we have heard all week long about Xbox Game Pass. That has been the hot topic over the week. Now, a lot of people are wondering, how is this going to affect the Xbox brand? Is this great? Is this bad? What is this? So my question to you guys is, does Game Pass hurt the Xbox brand? Me, myself, personally, I think it's a great thing for Microsoft to do this, to have their games, their first-party games, arrive in the system. Why do I keep saying system? Arrive in the service day and date with the street release. I think that gives people a reason to actually pick up Game Pass, because as it stands right now, it is over 150 games in Game Pass, but a lot of them are older titles. So that makes it less appealing to the masses. But if Microsoft is going to be releasing their first party software day and date, that is a really good incentive to have a person take a chance on the service. Now, this does mean that Microsoft is going to have to really put a lot of great content in there. And this is what I was thinking. I actually went over this a little earlier in the week, but I was thinking about what if, and this is just what ifs, okay, just for the sake of conversation, just like I said before on the YouTube video. What if Microsoft was able to attract other third parties to put their games in this service? Because as it stands, a stat came out, and I want to shout out Randall Thor for this stat. He actually read it on his podcast, where he was saying that the average gamer is only buying 2 games a year. That is really, really bad. That's horrible. So, in my opinion, what Microsoft is doing is they're lowering the barrier to entry. $10 a month. It could be a game like Sea of Thieves. I'm really not that, well, at first, I wasn't really that high on the game. But now I'm kind of at that middle road, like, man, I just might pick this up. For $10, I can actually try it out, see if I like it. And if I do, that is incentive to keep the doggone subscription, which is great. So for me personally, I think it just brings a lot of value. And for people that think that this is devaluing the Xbox games as a whole, oh, you can play Xbox games for $10 a month. That is horrible. Or Microsoft losing money on this deal. I mean, like I said before, it doesn't really matter to me if Microsoft is going to lose money on this deal, because It's okay. All right. Well, maybe it does matter a little bit because I do want to see the Xbox brand continue on, and you have to be making money in order to sustain. So yes, I do want the Xbox division to continue to be profitable so that they can stay in business. But let's just, since we're talking numbers, let's just say that, and I believe it's safe to say that 30 million users are already using or already own a Xbox. Let's just say 10 million of those users went on and subscribed to this service. That is a whopping $100 million a month just from 10 million subscribers. Even if you get 5 million, you just cut that in half. That's $50 million a month. Monthly. Now you want to talk about being able to make sequels and invest in IPs or new IPs, bring older IPs back. That is a lot of money on the table that Microsoft can use to do plenty of projects. And with that kind of money, that kind of revenue coming in each month, you don't think that with that kind of money, they could attract third parties, maybe indie developers to say, you know what, I want to put my game in there and get a piece of that, get a little bit of that daggone Game Pass money. So I don't want to keep on harping on this too much, but that is the question for the week. Does Game Pass hurt the Xbox brand? As always, you can chime in on this by calling 443-261-4607 or leaving an email at the analogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Guys, I truly thank every last one of you for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. I want to give a special shout out again to Goose for being so kind to have hooked me up with a copy, bought me a copy of Monster Hunter. That is amazing, brother. I can't wait to play with you guys on the game. It's going to be awesome. Shout out to Cody Clark for always writing in with his emails. I appreciate it, brother. And I once again do apologize for not wording your words correctly. My apologies. But definitely, guys, if you're out there and you're a game player like myself, you love this culture. Of course, I'm not the only podcast. Definitely want to shout out to Aaron, Tiny, and Mike over there at Game Enthuse. Definitely check them out. Go over and check out Gamertag Radio. Those guys are excellent. Love those cats over there. And, of course, Weapon Wheel. Weapon Wheel is a fantastic podcast. I can't say enough great things about their show. They are some hilarious brothers, and they roast each other royally. So, along with those, there's a couple of other ones. Crab Gamer is good. I like him. A lot of people might not like him because he's an Xbox fan, but I enjoy his content. But I'm rambling on, guys, and with that being said, we will be back next week. But until then, remember, it's not about the consoles, it's about the games. So you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.